Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Moed Katan, page 24, which discusses perhaps the most tragic and terrible thing that could ever happen to a parent, namely the loss of their child. It discusses whether or not the laws of mourning are exactly the same or are they a little bit different, and it all depends on the age of that child who had tragically died. The Talmud asks the question regarding a hesped, a eulogy. At what age do we have a eulogy for a child? So there are actual specific years that are mentioned, and it's not the same for every single person. It depends. It depends on one's socioeconomic status. Now, one would actually think that would mean the people that are wealthy perhaps are going to end up having a eulogy for their child maybe at a younger age. But it's quite fascinating that it's exactly the opposite. The Talmud tells us that when it comes to Ashirim, those who are wealthy, they only begin eulogizing for their child at the age of 6 and up. However, when it comes to Aniyim, those who are poor, they will begin eulogizing at the age of 5, when their child is even younger, which is questionable. Why is that the case? Rashi tells us something very fascinating, and it's certainly something to think about whether or not it applies to you as an individual. It says that when it comes to a poor person, the loss of their child is even more painful than when a wealthy person loses their child. And Rashi says, "Lafi she'ein lo simcha acheret," because the poor person has nothing else except for their child. They have no financial wealth. They have probably not a lot of honor and power. And because of that, all they have is their children. And therefore, the loss of their child is so much greater than someone who has a lot of financial resources and a lot of other things going for them. It also says that 5 years old is the time for someone who is a zaken, which could mean either someone who has a child at an older age. Alternatively, it could mean someone who is scholarly, as though to say that it's someone that has a primary focus on things other than wealth.